Andy?
Yeah.
So I've been telling people.
Chambers is unmuted and we are live streaming.
Voice of love.
I've been telling people about Andy, Grumpy Farmer. This kid comes. You know, Sean Ashby, was he there when you were there? No. It's good. The YouTube one. So, you know, he's got like this. Because I showed him the one.
Is he related to Ashby's and Weedsport?
Okay.
Which ones?
It's just John and all that. Just a bowl with all those.
Yes. See, I'm not responding because I don't have it yet. I don't.
Yeah, I know. Actually lives in Cato.
No.
Like they're in your district. But it's a weed sport.
I know.
But I think those are, I think that's like his dad's. His dad was.
Yeah, I worked with his dad and him both.
And
He was a lieutenant.
Sean is, I'm old enough to be.
Hey, he's young, he's my kid's age.
Yeah.
30, probably in his late 30s, mid to late 30s.
No, not Sean. Maybe 31.
Oh, I worked with dad, man. Your dad was a lieutenant.
Yeah, Sean got hired at like 21.
Fine.
You're thinking that.
No.
Hey, Bob. They worked for years, then came in.
How you doing, Big Mike?
So we can have.
Here, did you get coffee? Out of here. And you get a donut? I did too. Like that with me with all the cops.
So I think there was.
I think Rod would order that. Rod hand out some ass.
Yeah. The guy was in.
Depends whenever you're ready. Whenever you're ready. Oh, yeah.
Hey, everybody.
I see him deal a lot of cash.
Wonderful, how quiet it gets.
Commanding voice. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Minutes to approve,
Move them.
Second.
any discussion? Corrections? Otherwise, all those in favor, aye. Anyone opposed? Carried. Okay, no appointments. Mr. Dempsey, first on the list.
Should have read my report. Does anyone have any questions? If not, I have one item for you tonight. Every year, our auditors make us put together a resolution showing where all the amounts are invested and to the maximum, potential maximum amounts that we might be putting in them. And from last year to this year, one of our investment areas is a place called New York Class. It's a public entity that does investments for us, for municipalities. And it was inadvertently left off of our resolution this year by accident. So what I'm asking tonight is that we pass a resolution because of the timing of getting it ready for you next week. I have to come here tonight verbally and ask you if we can pass that resolution tonight, just adding them back on.
Well, I entertain a motion to that effect.
Don't we, Mr. Chair? Does it need to be in writing or can we just make the request?
Resolution, Fred will work it out afterwards.
Perfect.
Okay.
And I'm meeting with Fred Friday and redoing the resolution for you to vote on next week.
Right.
And then it'll be writing, so we'll be all squared away that way.
Correct, yeah.
And I'll make the
There'll
motion.
be a discussion on it at that time.
Because of the timing, to have it ready for next week.
If we have to do the motion first, I'll ask my question during discussion.
So I'll move it or second it.
Second it for discussion.
So
Okay,
this is just an I'm sorry, Chair. It's an administrative resolution only,
That's on. In
that
the,
we can use them.
yes,
Okay, that's what I.
in the near future, so you know, I'm planning to have a special Ways and Means and full legislative meeting on our investment policy and some potential changes, which will bring about a host of different questions and answers, and I'll get into all that with you. But this is just a quick thing to make sure that they're available for us. Right now, there's a significant difference in rates right now. And for us to be able to use them would be significant. And the more time, the better to invest this money right now, because we need as much money as we get from our investment income.
Are we not using them right now because?
We're
of
not
this?
using them right now. We talked about using them last year and prepared for them, but we haven't physically done it yet.
So I will say that many towns and villages throughout the county use that system.
Right.
And it's our daily rate right now for the village of Fairhaven is 4.97%. And that's done daily based on, and you can move money in and out of that without penalty. And so we're working with our local bank and with us to do that. And for a small village like us, for us to take in $3,000 to $5,000 a month, that's huge income. Towns are taking in $30,000 to $40,000 a month. So I can't imagine what the county.
We didn't rehearse this, but he's saying all the right things.
No, I didn't realize, I thought we were already part of it. We talked about it.
Right, and because of the volatility of the last few years with COVID and so on, the rates a year and a half ago were 0.4%, and now they're almost 5%. So I don't want to have, and in our investment policy for the last 50 years or so has been tiering CDs. And I want to take some of these 2% CDs and get them into 5% as quickly as we possibly can. Thinking ahead to the budget coming up this fall, the potential shortages is going to only be a huge help for us.
Absolutely. That's what we did.
This might just be a crazy question, but are these
Not for you.
entities, yeah, these entities that you're listing, is that where the county will invest or the entity invests on our behalf?
Right now, in that list that I showed you, those are where we're investing a lot of our monies right now.
They're investing,
Yes.
and that's what's on that list.
Yes. And this is just another option that deals only with municipalities, and they were created just for us. And they're a liquid investment where you don't have to tie up money, and you get the best percentage rate. And they're all AAA rated, and I'll get into that in a future meeting with all the specifics, but this is just a technical thing to make sure we can start working with them.
anybody else? Not all those in favor of the resolution?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Carried. Okay, Grace.
Hello. You've had my report in front of you. If anybody has any questions.
Everything going good, Paul?
Well, I do want to talk about a couple of things. Before I start, I did want to introduce our new grant manager, John Evans. He's been busy kind of visiting with department heads and I don't know if you want to say a few things.
Oh, sure. I'll just say thank you for the warm welcome to everyone and especially the department heads who I've met with so far. And I'm really looking forward to learning more about the county, getting to know the legislators more, and looking at further grant opportunities. So thank you.
Welcome aboard, John.
The only other thing I just wanted to bring up, just because this is kind of new, you all know we've been down our junior accountant, but we also, due to a medical leave, I am now down my key accountant position. So we just found out today that I think this is going to be a permanent medical leave, unfortunately. So I will probably be coming forward with some type of resolution next month to determine, you know, how we're going to move forward. I'll be working with Shireen and sorry, I'm a little emotional because it's kind of a serious thing, but I'll be coming forward next month with something probably so that we can get that position filled as soon as possible. And again, I'll be working with Shireen and Lynn and we'll try to figure out what we're going to do operationally from that point. But you know,
Do
I
you
just
have
wanted to-
anyone from HAF working with you now or
We
no?
we have one individual from Robert Half. The problem is, I mean, there's certain things, even talking with our auditors that, you know, we can't give them access to. We don't want to give them any banking access, things like that. So the accountant position had some, you know, key functions within that. So, you know, we really have to look at probably moving some functions around and
What staff are you left with? You and who else?
not much. We do have one junior accountant and I am giving her, you know, some additional functions, and we have Pam and Courtney, our payroll specialists. And then we have Christy, who's also, I believe, assistant payroll specialist.
Any other questions? We did have a good comment from the pre-audit conference.
What we did, well, you know, I don't feel real comfortable saying too much because it is still only in draft form. So, you know, they will be coming next month to do a presentation as to where we stand with our 2022 financials. So,
Sounded good, so glad to hear that, so.
yeah.
Anything further for Grace? Otherwise, thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Just one more. The 22 financials
Mhm.
and how we have the year ends. We're not waiting for any. This is just the audit to see.
So this is our year-end
Yeah.
2022 financials. So the year-end audit.
And this will be the fund balance and things that are, even though it's July.
Yes.
Yes, it'll be what we ended up with a 22 fund balance to bring into 23.
Yes, that's correct.
And that will be a report at some point, like
That will be a
always.
report, yes, at some point. Yes.
Jim?
I'm not sure if this is sales tax or sales tax minus 1.38% this time last year, but is it still up? Am I reading?
So, I mean, we're still over budget, but compared to last year, we're down negative 1.38%. But every month it was down, I think, I don't have that number in front of me, but it was down like negative 2 point something percent. So it is getting better
From last year.
from last year, same
But
time
we're
last
still
year.
Of our budget.
Above our projected. budget.
Yes, that's correct. Yes.
Thank you.
Anything else?
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Grace.
Thank you, Grace.
Jennifer?
Have you? Are there any questions?
Only if you have anything else to say.
Go ahead, John.
Did we hear any more? Have you get any updates since last month on the state and whether we collected these taxes and on the tax auction stuff that we're gonna have to give the owner or the state or
We have not heard anything further.
Yeah, I don't want you to be crystal ball. I'm just wondering if it's something they're gonna try to enact this year or if it's just gonna keep talking about it this year or.
Honestly, I haven't heard much about what the state is talking about. I'm hoping that they do something soon because the limbo is not fun. But yeah,
All right.
guess is as good as mine.
No, yours will be better. Thank you.
Do you have a projection for next year's auctions numbers? Like how many roughly? Because doesn't it take 3 years? I just know there's vacant properties where I live. There's one right next to one that just sold this year. And I'm curious I had people ask me, well, why did that place sell? But the one that's vacant next to it didn't. And I told them, I think it's gotta be 3 years.
So if it's residential or agricultural.
Residential.
3-year redemption period. If it's vacant or commercial, it's a 2-year redemption period.
Residential agriculture where we are.
Fred?
This might help answer the question. The fly in the ointment, the Senate and the Assembly have passed a resolution to impose a moratorium for a year. It's on the governor's desk and we're waiting, no, I'm sorry, it's not on her desk yet, so we're waiting to see if she signs it. If she signs it, there would be no Article 11 tax foreclosure process for this cycle. So we're kind of waiting in limbo as was said to see what they do.
Big surprise. So that means they would go from 3 years to 4 years and then we wait to see what they did again the following year.
So it was that case out of the Supreme Court, Tyler versus Minnesota, that had an impact on what we do.
I could, there's impacts all the way around on that. We're talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars this year. Last year, we made almost $1 million, I think, right, Jay? And so, in talking with Fred and potential legal things that can happen here, it involves bankruptcy, litigations, all the way through the state, very complex things. And if she passes that, the governor passes that, and we lose out on the money, this minus 400,000 is a term bandied around here. Potentially another legal action could go back for last year. If they pass it this year, they could retroactively go back, which means we could, in a worst case scenario, have to fine $1 million. So it has and we're a small county, so there's ramifications for every county throughout the state. And there's a lot going on behind the scenes about trying to figure this out for everyone because of the complexity of it all. So just to give you that bad news.
Well, the ramifications for the taxpayer and what really pisses them off in plain English is like the two places I'm talking about that are a mile away from my house, and don't take this the wrong way. They're both trailers. I'm not saying anything about trailers, but you could hardly see them because they've been vacant for 3-4 years. The weeds, the sumac and everything. The one person who just bought the one went in there with a brush hog recently. That was an experience for him, I think. But, you know, and then the person a few miles down the road, new deck on because their deck is 20 years old and rotting out. What do you think happens?
Right.
Their assessment goes up. So, you know, they pay more taxes because they actually improve their place. While they drive by some place that the weeds and sumac are so high, you can't even see the trailer that sits there. And, you know, of course, our Albany is going to do what they're going to do. So it's just, and you wonder why people are leaving New York State. I mean, whatever, but it's asinine.
Is there money for foreclosures, a budget line in your budget?
And then we'll get those people.
An estimated amount that you think we'll get from foreclosures?
So it's within the treasurer's budget?
Yes,
But
I mean, do you know what it is
Yeah,
for this year?
That's what I'm thinking of here, is Lynn has estimated some close to $400,000 for our budget this year.
And we just exceeded it a year ago, over $1 million, but
Right, so that's a very conservative estimate on their
Yep.
part, but now if they stop that,
yes,
and we're not gonna get that money.
that 400,000 is at stake
Right.
certainly for this year.
And that also speaks to what I was mentioning earlier, is I think there's a huge need to get as much interest money any way we can, thinking that that's gonna be gone as well as other things.
Yep.
Jennifer, I do have an inquiry from constituent. He wanted to know how come the assessors, I think the assessors are giving away food tickets, coupons and all that stuff. What's that over there?
I'm not aware of that,
Okay, this is not a county project.
no.
Okay, I don't know, the free,
Was it the office
coupons and
meeting?
stuff like that, you know, that we're giving away for veterans, I believe, right?
Well, that's the veteran, the VA office is doing that.
Okay.
There is,
assessors?
There is an assessor, there's somebody that is an assessor that also works in his office.
In
For the
Kevin's,
Veterans Association. She does both.
Kevin Swab's office.
Okay, that's what it is then. Okay. Thank you.
But I don't think she's giving them away as the assessor. I don't.
Well, that's the
Give them
way.
like- yeah, from the VA office,
I
yeah.
believe
Yeah.
that would make sense.
Okay. Well,
All right.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Diane, not here.
Diane's on a bereavement leave.
Somebody else substituting for her? Or?
Serena, is there anything you can add that from Diane?
The only thing that Diane had was that she submitted her report that you have reviewed. And if you have questions, you can definitely reach out to her via email or give her a phone call. And did you want to do the resolution for the auditor ponds, or did you want to wait?
We can do it right now. Where is it?
Too.
So it's, WM2,
Okay,
authorizing the appointment of the Cayuga auditor.
Move it.
Second, Basile.
okay, any discussion? Right quick,
Yeah.
Okay,
All set?
all those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ray.
Thank you.
And I see Amanda out there. Amanda, anything you'd like to say?
I don't have an update for this meeting. I will do quarterly updates. I'm working with Amazon tomorrow to try to get us a contract. And I'm looking into other contracts. And I'm negotiating getting a year of free Amazon Business Prime because we don't have that right now. So
Good. Any questions for her?
I'd just like to say we're very lucky to have you. It was a great hire. You've done a great job.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Thank you. Okay, guess we're down to resolutions. Okay, WM1, adopting a local law. This is hearing we had months ago. So, well, second, any discussion? Go ahead.
Is that this paper that's on our desk also? Okay, I need some legal speak here. So between section 1 and section 2, I mean, are we basically saying that any solar, wind, or any, like digesters on farms or anything will not be taxed in the future?
No, we're saying that they will be subject to taxation.
Will be. Oh,
Right now, they are, the solar farms and the wind projects are tax exempt. If certain things happen, there have to be negotiations to get a pilot. This removes the tax exemptions and says that they will be taxed by the local sector.
Okay, so how does this affect, I know you got your dates in here of, what was it, January 2018 and whatnot. How does this affect the ones that aren't built, but are in, they're gonna be built?
Well, there's a couple that are in the pipeline. Let's say that those are going to be grandfathered in. So this will be effective, presuming it passes from next week till going forward.
So like the big one in Conquest will be exempt as well?
What I don't know is where they are in their application process to the state. It all depends on whether they have filed their interconnect documents with the state. And I don't have that information in front of me.
Because if they are, that's a lot of property taken out of.
My understanding with the Conquest Solar is that they're gonna be seeking a pilot through the IDA.
Okay.
Which solar projects could still seek a pilot through IDA.
So does that mean, Jen, that they're still not taxable?
They would go through a pilot, so it would not be the regular tax, but there would be a payment in lieu of tax agreement.
Okay.
But it would be worked out through the Industrial Development Agency.
Which basically, if it's not equal to at least what the taxes are, that's gonna hurt small towns. You're taking, number one, you're taking, fortunately, agriculture ground out of agriculture, but we're gonna eat plants anyhow. So I don't know.
It's the same type of discussion that happens with any big economic project.
Oh, I know.
They do have the ability to apply to the IDA for a pilot.
They get 10-year pilots and then they leave after the pilots are over with. We see it all the time.
It's in their business plan.
Yeah, it's in their business plan, exactly. Pilot's over. See it. Which is why I hate pilot plans, because you can't hold them to, here we're gonna, it's the carrot and stick thing. We want you here, but we're not gonna hold you to stay here after the pilot is over. And meanwhile, you've taken that much out of the tax roll, so somebody's got to make it up.
I talked to Jenny a little because I was still thinking, give me the Reader's Digest version of this. If this passes, the county will enter into no more pilot agreements for wind and solar or renewable energy products. We're going to accept what the state says is the value of the property and collect taxes based on that.
Or if,
So it's the state's model, which basically just says plug in these factors and then it's gonna spit out a value.
But we'll be taxing based on the state's model, but
we'll
we'll
be
have
taxing
no
based on
more
that.
pilot agreements, but
Will not have
The county.
solar pilots.
Solar pilot, okay.
But will we know,
Or I
At
would
a
say
time.
pilot agreements under the solar exemption.
but will we know ahead of time what the state's numbers will be? I mean, will they be different than what the tax rolls are now? They're gonna be lower, they're gonna be higher.
So the assessors are required to run the model every year. And from me looking at the model, essentially the value goes down every year for these projects. So,
Means the tax value is, or the tax amount is lower every year.
correct, which was part of my issue with having these pilot agreements is also the law states that the solar company can't pay more in the pilot than they would be paying on regular taxes. So essentially, if we were to allow them to get into these solar pilot agreements under this section of the law, they could get a benefit up front, and then when the taxes would be less than what they're paying in the pilot, they would have a way out of the pilot to pay less taxes. So that's part of my reasoning for wanting to opt out of this exemption.
Which is a good, I mean, I agree with opting out, but it puts us between a rock and a hard place because now we have to abide by whatever the state comes up with.
We would have to do
Their
that.
formula.
We have to do that anyway. That's an automatic.
Any further discussion, questions? If not, all those in favor of
So, yeah, one.
one. Aye.
I would not happy.
Would you like to play?
Anyone opposed? If not, the motion is carried. Okay, health and human services, Leanne?
Yep. Health and Human Services had 15 resolutions that have come through committee. I could offer them up unless anyone wants any of them separated for further discussion.
Separate five.
Okay,
Well, can I ask a question?
Yep.
Mr. Chair first?
Go ahead.
WM6 says listed. My bad, I didn't have the time to read the listed agencies. No, I don't think.
Not a
so,
child
right.
welfare
Right,
agency.
I don't think so either. And then, if I could just ask about, there was another one that said various, with HH15.
Youth Bureau.
Youth Development Services.
I don't see Cayuga Counseling on this
Thank you.
list. It might be listed under state aid though, the mental health state.
All right, so
But
then
that's-
I'll just say let the record reflect
Okay.
my usual spiel. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Yep.
Chairwoman Daly.
Oh, you covered.
Oh, all right, I want five separate.
Okay,
So I'll move everything but five. How's that sound?
sounds good.
Second, Basile.
Okay. Any discussion on the bundle?
Mr. Chair, just again, like the record to reflect that I am abstaining under abundance of caution from HH6 and HH15.
So noted. Okay, any further discussion, any questions?
Okay, HH5, you want to go over HH5?
I think we gotta vote on it first, right? Did we vote?
Gotta vote on the bundle first.
I'm sorry for the, I'm looking at the HHS packet and the HH5. Sorry,
The contract with the county attorney?
that's the one I'm looking for, yeah.
Yes.
That's
I-
fine.
I have it.
Okay, all right, I got the right number, all right.
Okay,
We need to vote on the bundle.
the bundle,
first.
yeah. All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? The bundle is carried.
So I'll move HH5 for discussion.
Second.
Okay.
Yep.
Open.
HH5 is to end up with a cooperative agreement between social services and the county attorney's office for the provision of legal services. And in the resolution, it's talking about how the time the county attorney's office staff are now spending on the Department of Social Services work. Because DSS does not have a senior and 2 county attorneys in their department, so the majority of the work is falling to the county attorney's office. With this contract, this way DSS will actually pay the county attorney's office based on track time that those county attorneys work on DSS work. And then the department will go ahead and claim that expense for state and federal reimbursement. It's really similar to what we had before the attorney staff came down to DSS. We always had a contract in force so that it would be revenue for the county attorney's office based on time tracked. The department will pay it, and then they will claim state and federal aid.
So my question, and I'm sure Chris will jump on this. Should we have something in there for outside counsel also? In case county attorney's office can't.
That's exactly the point I wanted to address. Is there any reason, Elaine, I'll ask you because
Okay.
it came out of HHS. Is there any reason you just can't authorize the district, social services district to contract with outside counsel? I mean,
Was my understanding, we did it with the health department, where we had this 3-way agreement between the health department, Bond, Shenanigans, King, and
Right,
the
but
county
that-
attorneys. Right, they're not a district, you said, and you have to be in the loop to make sure that before departments go outside to seek counsel, your office needs to be involved. But
we're
I
all-
guess, how would you budget for that, Chris? You just say open-ended, contract with anyone you feel like?
what we do with Robert Half, pay it out of point ones. You got no attorneys down there right now. Pull it out of point ones.
That resolution would have to sort of be rewritten to say that you would enter into a contract, authorize them to contract with your office and your office to contract with outside.
No, it would allow the commissioner to contract with us.
Yep.
Which we could do because the reimbursements from the county perspective are important.
Right, but you would then contract out.
Let
So
them contract out.
it would be their resolution then. The Department of Social Services would come with a resolution like they did with Muldoon. Pay him privately an hourly rate up to. Again, if they have any success, you have looked at contracting out with a number of attorneys, didn't you call?
We have a meeting on Friday,
Pardon me?
the Friday meeting.
Yeah.
With Bond, Shenanigans, King to find out what
They might be able to do it for DSS work?
maybe, maybe they can handle guardianship stuff, maybe, I don't know what their capabilities are. But we were just gonna talk so we could have information. to-
Yes, and right, and Muldoon is handling the guardian cases right now.
Brian,
And, but if
Yep.
there's the ability for outside counsel to take a contract, we'd certainly be all over that.
Yes.
so I think what we were hoping is that just drop the county attorney's office, allow the commissioner to contract with outside legal entities. And I stopped.
And
on-
amended in this particular resolution.
Yeah,
Another whereas the Department of Social Services has the ability to enter into contracts.
Yeah.
You'd have to put a rate there.
it'll be different depending on Ryan
Right.
Muldoon's rate will be different than Bond, Shenanigans, King's rate.
I mean, in the health departments, there's 2 rates, one for an associate and one for regular partners.
Right, but that's the health department.
No, but you'd have to put a rate in, I would assume, right?
No, I don't think so.
You just say for an amount not to exceed,
I don't even know. if
whatever
we
you
do
want to
that.
pay.
I mean, but reference again, that Robert Half contract
Well,
resolution. They're lacking help. We heard 2 or 3 people are down. They can contract for any amount they'd like.
which you found
Which
issue,
come-
which you found issue with when it passed.
Correct.
Mhm.
Which I what?
Found
Found
issue
issue
with when it
Right,
passed.
But they could transfer out of point ones. I'm saying, why can't DSS? That's my question. If one department, why can't the social services?
If there's
district-
no objection from the committee to amend this resolution to include a contract with you, as well as, is that what you're saying?
I would
Putting it
let
in
them-
this one resolution?
Let them make contract with whoever they want.
Right, but bring a resolution amending this one to
Yep.
to allow that to happen?
Why can't it say both, county
Yeah.
attorney's office and or outside?
Yes.
I couldn't just say a lawyer, you contract with legal firms. We could be included, it could be anybody they choose. We could pick up part of it. It doesn't need to be a single contract. We could do the CPS work and maybe the child support, APS, Medicaid, could go elsewhere. There's a lot of elder law attorneys that would be fantastic on the Medicaid side, because I know that there's a potential hire coming in. It's unlikely that most folks you find in the community are gonna have Medicaid experience unless they have come from our county or another county social services entity.
Yeah, I mean, I don't,
Is this time?
I just say let them
sensitive?
contract whoever they
Well,
can get to get the job done.
it sounds time sensitive because all of the DS work is falling to the county attorney's office because there's no one else.
So it wouldn't, I'm sorry, Mr. Chair, is it okay if I ask a question? So it doesn't,
Wanting some relief.
so it doesn't behoove us to table it. It would behoove us, okay? All right,
I'm
I
just-
got it.
It would be your office that would amend the language and potentially
So
bring it back.
wouldn't specifically identify us. I mean, we're gonna help no matter what.
Right.
The judge calls, we're gonna be there. Friends got
Yeah.
trial tomorrow on a CPS case, I believe it is. If they call, we're gonna help.
Yeah.
But I'm saying don't particularly identify us and let the commissioner contract with whoever it's gonna take to get this job done, because we're just drowning.
But you need both. So you want to be reimbursed for the time you're spending doing DSS work and you want additional bodies to do it.
I think they're the ones that are reimbursed, right?
Well,
When they pay,
they're going to pay your office
right, or bond.
or bond.
buy and
Yep.
build one,
And they're going to.
They get reimbursed.
Yep.
We don't get
You
reimbursed.
just get, under this contract, you get, your county attorney's office gets revenue from the Department of Social
Correct.
Services.
They get the reimbursement.
And they claim the reimbursement of what their expenses. Yep.
So the revenue isn't as important to us right now as is the time,
Right.
because there are, I mean,
Well,
I stopped down and talked to Jennifer today. We've got properties that people have paid their back tax that need to, we just,
I think we're all on the same page. If we can find a way to amend this resolution to give them latitude
yeah,
to, in addition, enter into contracts with private attorneys.
I would love it. Or any legal.
Right.
Just contract for legal services.
Legals.
Yeah, so if I'm reading it right, they're the ones that have to amend the resolution, not the county attorney's office, right? Would be DSS,
It's DSS amendment.
Yeah.
It's room, right?
it's DSS,
Right
it's
now.
not the county attorney's office, it's DSS.
Yes, it's DSS's
Okay.
resolution he's hoping gets amended.
Okay, all right.
Right, and we're gonna keep doing the work, we're gonna keep billing the time, they're gonna keep getting reimbursed. But it won't tie their hands, it will let them go to any attorney they can find.
And here's generally how it works. Your office works on the resolution and the amendments, or they can and you'll review it,
Yeah.
whatever, and it'll come amended to the ledge meeting.
Absolutely.
Why can't we amend it?
He's over there.
Okay, I don't, we can.
Why can't we move?
All
Have a motion and.
right, does anyone want to put the language?
Well, I just want to make sure, so if we have a motion and a second, is and or sufficient?
I just don't see the need for the reference. And
Oh, so rather than saying and or, like I heard that at one point, so
authorizing them
Yeah.
to contract.
and or with, because you said not just with one specific, right? You wanted it sort of open-ended? Isn't that, am I understanding that's what, is that?
I guess if I were gonna draft the motion, I would, and then suggest it, I would, amend it so that it just authorizes the Commissioner of Social Services to enter into agreements for the provision of legal services until such time as they have completed their staff.
Authorizing.
So-
In between DSS and the county attorney and additional legal staff or other legal.
So I'll do my famous what he said again.
It doesn't matter.
Come on, Fred, write fast and tell us what we're doing.
Almost done. I'm just waiting for a first and second.
No, we got it. Me and Bob.
First and second for the amendment.
We're on it. Okay.
Who motioned the amendment?
It's okay with me. You.
Chris did the first, Bob did the second.
Okay, thank you.
Voice from above.
You have recommended language?
I think I have the sense of it, yes.
Okay.
And we'll have a chance, at the full edge.
Yep.
To further review, right?
In a perfect world, it'll go out Friday with some of the other resolutions.
Okay.
I know you're on it, Fred, so I'm super
Do we
confident.
have to do any voting amended, as amended, blah, blah?
Yes.
Okay,
Do all that about.
okay.
Okay,
Come on.
are we ready to move on?
So you gotta
Oh, we
vote on
gotta
the
vote on the
amendment.
Vote on the amendment.
Okay, all those in favor of the amendment, Going to be made. Anyone opposed? Carried.
Now I'll move it as amended.
I'll second it.
Discussion.
Good work, team.
We'll move on to
Gotta vote on that
all
one.
those in favor.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Carried. Okay, now we're down to 6, HH6.
We did all. that.
Get all.
That's it.
Bundle them.
Oh,
We got everything, so we're
yeah.
on to Mr. Chair.
Extension, yeah. Okay, very good. Thank you, Elaine.
Yep.
Government operations.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
You.
Yeah, that's me.
Okay.
Unless you want to do it, you're the vice chair.
No.
You're a jack of many trades. Government operations had 3 resolutions. They went through the committee. I'll offer them as a bundle unless someone wants to discuss.
I'll move it.
Thank you.
Second.
Any further discussion on the bundle? If not, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Carried. Thank you. Planning, Bob.
Yes, sir. I have 2 resolutions that have been through committee. I'll entertain a motion to bundle.
Move them.
Second, Basile.
All in favor?
Any further
Discussion?
discussion or
That's not for you, Bob.
comments? If not, all those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Carried. Public Works.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Public Works has and that are on here. I have the emergency one.
That's been channeled into an emergency.
Okay, so it's not in here.
It's not on the back of it. You have to sign for it.
So we have 10 resolutions that have been through committee and passed, so I'll offer them as a bundle.
Move it, Basile.
Second it, Mark.
Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Carried.
So we're gonna do the emergency one.
Yes, it's all we need. You approved it through Amanda earlier.
I think I have, everyone has approved it, so it just needs to get certified now, Dave, so.
What is it?
That's why I wanted Doug to at least explain it.
Yeah.
Again, so everybody. Go ahead, Doug.
Sure.
Give us the
Yeah, we had a,
windshield version.
yeah, we had a sewer station fail up at the park. We had a couple days work done on it and we just received in a quote today, this morning for a repair for a sewer station. So we got a quote in today for the repair. Whether we can get the equipment right away is a bit of a question, but since we have a number for it, we thought we put in a resolution. Originally, I thought maybe we could get it through this week into next week's legislative schedule, but it was decided to put it just through it as emergency. So as soon as the equipment's available, it can be purchased and installed.
The reason for the emergency was $400 a day.
Is what we're paying.
Yeah, can you explain that a little bit?
Yeah, just to maintain it, in order to keep the building operating. Some of the facilities inside are used by the staff and the actors, so we can't close the building or it would be a significant loss for the theater every day. So we're having to have the sewer station serviced with a pumper truck every day.
We're pumping poop every day, in other words,
Every
for
day.
$400 a day.
As an emergency.
So when he called me earlier about that, I was like, yeah, let's get that done. That's not a good thing.
That's what's going on. So thank you, everybody.
Judicial and Public Safety, Mark.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Judicial and Public Safety has 8 resolutions tonight. I would offer them as a bundle of committee. Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any discussion on the bundle? Not all those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Carried. I believe we have it all.
Motion to adjourn.
I got one thing. Just an announcement that lieutenant's contract out of the sheriff's department has been approved, been resolved and settled. It usually comes through this committee, but because we want to get these guys paid quickly as possible. And the resolution's not done yet. Fred's working on it. We'll bring that to the full edge, just so everybody knows. Thanks.
Mr. Chair, can I ask a question?
Go ahead.
Are they Council 82 over there too? The lieutenant? Thank you.
So will that be something we'll see Friday too?
On Tuesday. Yeah.
Perfect world, yes.
Brad, with you, it's a perfect world. Come on.
Thanks.
Now I'll redo my motion to adjourn.
A second.
Second for discussion.
No discussion on the motion. All those in favor?